I want to start talking about what's going on in the marketplace today. Why is sustainability even talked about? And we always start from the outside in at Owens Corning of looking at what's happening, what's driving markets, what's driving our business. And certainly we call it the perfect storm. There's the issue of energy availability, the climate change being a basis for, well, with fossil fuel consumption as a foundation of global warming and climate change, and also then population growth. As we are sitting here today, we're at around 6 billion people in the world. By 2050, it's expected to go to over 9 billion. And the developing nations of China and India, the population is exploding there, plus the fact that those nations, the developing nations, want to have the same lifestyle that we have here and the same types of opportunities. So the consumption of goods, from going from a population of 6 billion to 9 billion and consuming even more, is really going to put a strain on our resources. So energy, climate change, and just the consumption of resources combines to make quite a marketplace where there's certainly issues around that, but there's also opportunities for all of us to work in that and recognizing it and actually achieving as a result of that. We know that there is interest in energy efficiency globally, as well as there's legislation being talked about right now in Washington around energy and around climate change. Personal desire to achieve sustainability. There's a lot of consumer and market research being done to say that the green movement is gaining ground. It is not just a fad. People are starting to be more concerned about what they're doing and who they're buying from, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. As well as in our business particularly, the green building movement is really what sparked our journey into sustainability. We had really looked at it from the insulation standpoint of what is going on with green building, LEED certification, the desire for greener solutions, and particularly energy efficiency. But we realized that we couldn't talk about sustainability just from one department in our company. We had to look at it from a corporation standpoint. So that's what really got us started back in 2005. So what is sustainability? If you look it up in the dictionary, it tells you it's the property of being sustainable, which doesn't really help you too much. So looked up sustainable, and you get a little better definition of maintaining ecological balance. But I prefer to really use two words of flourish forever. If you're growing, if you're flourishing, if you think of that word, and you can do it forever, that means you're not using up all your resources, and you're continually saving some for the future and making sure that you're going to have a prosperous future. So I like that definition a little bit better. You've seen a lot of different words that may be associated with sustainability. You may be using some of those terms or phrases in your own business, and I won't read all those. You can see all the different ones that may be used. But we really look at it at Owens Corning as the balance of making decisions around economics, environment, and social. How can you bring all of those together? So whenever you're considering something, that those three aspects are looked at, rather than mainly only the economic, which may be what has been typical and probably where we were best at, and not maybe asking those questions around environment and social, and we're doing more of that now, and we're getting better at it. It is a practice. Oh, whoops, let me talk a little bit about the words that you see around the side of the outside. Really, anybody in any position within your company can find themselves on this chart, whether it's around your human resources with job creation and skills enhancement, whether it's in your lean manufacturing processes with resource efficiency, product stewardship, particularly capital efficiency and risk management, that's very important, safety and health, your environmental regulations and what you need to do to comply, and also how do you go beyond that, and diversity and human rights. And I heard someone speaking earlier about they're working in the supply chain, and how do you extend not only the human rights of your own company, but how do you look at that beyond your company to make sure that your influence as well as your reputation are maintained. So it really is a way to bring everyone together in your organization to be able to play a part in sustainability, and that's where you see the middle part there. This is the UN definition that we also have adopted as operating our business today in a way that meets the needs of today, but without compromising the world we leave to the future. So that's that Flourish Forever definition. So these are the steps that we took along our journey. As I told you, the green building movement is really what kind of spurred us on, but we were doing a lot of things already. We didn't call it sustainability necessarily. I was working in the insulation division. I've had over 30 years of experience with Owens Corning, both in manufacturing, both in the United States and in Norway, as well as marketing and product development. So the mix of those has allowed me to see all parts of our business. And building the case for we actually was looking at the green building market. We're members of the USGBC. We've been active with the different building guidelines that have come along over the years. But as I said, we realized that to call ourselves a sustainable business really needed to encompass the whole company. So we provided a lot of different marketing. We had a green team that was really kind of a grassroots group that provided market data and information to our leadership team. My boss, we have a chief sustainability officer, was appointed to, he wasn't called that at the time, he was in charge of all of our innovation, was appointed to really look into this and what could we do, and a sustainability leader was hired, and this was in 2005. And at that point, we really started to look at what are other companies doing, what does this mean? We really didn't have a good definition. We didn't know really what that strategy would work out to be, but we started to do exploration. We benchmarked companies like DuPont and P&G and 3M, many of our own suppliers we went to find out what they were doing, and also some of our customers to find out what they were doing as well. And then we did our own self-assessment. We realized that we really didn't know how much water we were using in total, how much energy we were using in total. We knew, we had the bills for each facility, but it was a number of people that had to come together to bring all of this information together. And we had to decide what are the elements or the impacts that our company produces. As every company does that makes anything, there's some impact that you make with emissions or using resources. And what were the main ones that we needed to look at? We also did a self-assessment versus what the expectations are from the outside. And that was done through Future 500. That's a company, it's a nonprofit organization out of California. They also have offices in Europe and China. Bill Shireman is the president of that organization. They had a great kind of scorecard thing that he had developed using all the inputs from NGOs like Sierra Club and Greenpeace and social responsibility investment groups. And he had put together a 200 questionnaire, 200 question questionnaire that we gathered people from all parts of our company, and we sat down and took that, and just you answer yes, no, maybe, whether or not you're doing or producing in the different areas, corporate governance, how you're operating, your workplace, community, et cetera. So that kind of set the stage for where were our biggest gaps. And we found out that environment was one of the biggest ones because we didn't know what our impacts were at that time, and that's how we started out in really doing a lot of measurement, a lot of data collection. We set goals and we started reporting, and I'll tell you that the reporting part is probably just as important as all the other, because once you start reporting and you decide that you are going to report, the scrutiny and the integrity of what you're going to say certainly becomes important, because you're going to put that out to the public, and you've got to you've really got to have that commitment, and that really started to help gel what we were doing.